Boy, we got football back and it felt so good. And guess what? We got more. So I got some money picks of the week coming your way. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the 87th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Man, got a lot to chop it up with you about. I do want to start with this. And, you know, I can ramble on my pod from time to time, so you have to excuse me as I'm about to go on a bit of a tangent. But I cannot wait to get a damn haircut. Okay, this shit is getting out of control now. So I moved up here to the Fredericksburg area in like mid-July, I'd say, early to mid-July. And I really essentially haven't had a haircut since. I might have had one, and I drove back down to the 757 to get that. And I've had my hair cut by the same guy for almost 2 decades. So I'm very nervous and apprehensive to get a haircut, but this shit's got to stop. I'm tired of wearing hats everywhere. I'm tired of my hair looking crazy. I'm ready for a fresh cut. So I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to try a random barbershop around here. Cross your fingers for your man, Louie T, please. I hope. Look, I can't afford to have my wig pushed back any further than it already is. Okay. So keep your fingers crossed. Keep me in your prayers that the person that I go to doesn't jack me up. And I actually can find a barber that I can go to on a regular basis so we can stop the madness around here, because this is getting out of control now. But I digress. Thank you for joining me on the 87th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. We got football last night, man, and was it a treat. Now, the game itself wasn't tremendous by any stretch of the imagination, but it did spawn a couple of topics that I will talk about today on the show, however. And I think the first topic that we'll ultimately talk about is the Chiefs. And are we seeing the makings of a dynasty? We'll get to that in a second. I also want to touch on the Dak Prescott discussion, and not so much the angle everybody else is talking about with the whole Skip Bayless comments and him coming out talking about his battle with depression and anxiety and things of that nature. I'm going to touch on that briefly, but we had a very spirited debate last night on the live stream about Dak Prescott and whether he should get the big contract in Dallas. I want to touch on that quickly, and then we'll get to some leftovers from last night, because I don't know about you. I'm going to ask you this right now. How do you like your leftovers? All right, where do you keep your leftovers? First of all, do you even like leftovers? I'm a leftovers guy. After Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, first and foremost. And so after Thanksgiving, I love the Thanksgiving leftovers, man. I could eat those for 3 weeks. I know people that they'll eat the leftovers maybe 1-2 days max, and then they're done with them. Me, I want enough leftovers to at least last me a week. But I don't like putting my leftovers in the fridge. Now it just depends on how long. Like Thanksgiving leftovers, you have to put those in the fridge. But let's say you got some leftover pizza from the night before. Let's say you got some, Chinese food or something hanging around that you didn't finish up. I'm a Chipotle guy, so I'll go with Chipotle for my example. I've got some Chipotle left. I'm not putting it in the fridge. I'm sticking it in the microwave, and guess what? When I want those leftovers, I'm going to the microwave. So we'll go to the microwave or the fridge. It's your call. And we'll get us some Thursday night leftovers a little bit later on in the show. And then we'll wrap it up with my money picks of the week. My first installment. Man, I'm chomping at the bit to get this going now. I will tell you this. A little nervous about these picks. We'll talk about them a little bit later on in the show. But as we always do here on the Louie T Network podcast, let me drop this gem on your melon. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind, let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up, get you thinking a little bit. So, after watching that game last night, I got to thinking, and this isn't the first time this thought has crossed my mind, but literally last night, in a season where you think every team is going to have some kind of struggle this year, and you may think teams may stumble a little bit out of the blocks, especially with no preseason and things of that nature, the Chiefs look to be in midseason form. And I got to thinking last night, are we seeing the makings of another dynasty? Because what the Patriots did over the last 2 decades is a dynasty. What the Spurs did for over 2 decades in the NBA was a dynasty. Are we seeing the makings of another dynasty in the National Football League, where it's hard to establish dynasties? I mean, we haven't seen a repeat Super Bowl winner since, oh man, are we talking 03, 04 with the Patriots? I don't think anyone's repeated since 03 and 04 with the Patriots. I mean, it's been that long since one team has won back-to-back Super Bowl championships. I'm trying to think. I don't think the Patriots have done it again. They won 3 and 4 years, and then they won in 2016. They won again, and they might have won it in 17. Didn't they beat the Rams? But that wasn't consecutive years, though. I think the Eagles was sandwiched in between the win over the Falcons. So Falcons, then they lost to the Eagles, and then they won against the Rams. So yeah, we haven't seen a repeat Super Bowl champion since 03 and 04 with the Patriots. And so it's so hard to do. I'm not sure we're not seeing the makings of a legit dynasty with this Chiefs football team, and specifically Patrick Mahomes. I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen a player come in the league and do the types of things. And, the closest comp for me was Dan Marino. His rookie season, he came in, he was good, but his second year in the league was ridiculous. Took the Dolphins all the way to the Super Bowl, and everyone thought, okay, yeah, this is about to be, the Dan Marino show in the league, and he was going to be the face of the league, and he was going to go to the Super Bowl multiple times, win it a bunch of times, and he never went back. That's not going to happen to the Chiefs. I just don't see that taking place. They're good, and they are young, and they're talented, and they've got talent all over the place, not to mention a guy that is capable of elevating talent. And so I look at the Chiefs, man, and they are a well-oiled machine capable of destroying this league at epic levels. I'm talking Golden State Warriors dominance, even, potentially in the next 3, 4, possibly 5, 6 years. And remember, at the quarterback position, you can have sustained success and play for a long time with the new rules, the way that it's set up. Quarterbacks can play well into their 40s. We're seeing it with Brady now. Breeze is in his 40s now. We're seeing quarterbacks play longer than we ever have in the National Football League. Phillip Rivers may play another 2 or 3 years, depending on how it goes in Indy this year. He could get to his 40s. Ben Roethlisberger is another guy that can make it to his 40s. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like he's slowing down right now. He could make it to his 40s. We're seeing a new age of quarterbacking where they're protecting the quarterback and guys are allowed to play for a lot longer. Patrick Mahomes is 25 years old. Think about that for a second. All right. Let's just go with the assumption, and this is a pretty presumptuous one, so bear with me. But let's just go with the premise that this guy plays until he's 42. That's 17 more years of Patrick Mahomes. It's 18 if you count this season. We could be looking at a level of dominance that we've never seen before. And that's coming off of Brady going to like 11 straight AFC championships, winning 6 Super Bowls, and going to like 9 or 10 of them, or 11, whatever it was, some ridiculous number. I stopped keeping count with the Patriots. They went so often. So, Brady might have won 5 Super Bowls and not 6. I stopped counting after a while. They went so often, it became almost like second nature to see the Patriots representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. That could be the case with the Chiefs. I mean, Travis Kelce still has a lot of good football left in him. Tyreek Hill is still playing on his rookie deal, about to get paid here shortly. You've got Chris Jones, who just signed a new contract. He's a young guy. Tyrann Mathieu is on the last year, I believe, of his 3-year deal. I believe he signed 3 years ago, but nonetheless, they could easily re-up with him. He's still got a lot of good football left in him. You look around that football team, they got a rookie last night that showed himself and looks like he's going to fit in just fine in Kansas City. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's on a rookie deal. They've done a phenomenal job of keeping the cupboard locked, stocked, and ready to go around Mahomes, who frankly doesn't need it to be as full as it is, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier when you don't have to elevate the play of others as much because they're just as good as you are. So I'm just saying, and I'm not saying the Chiefs are unbeatable and that they're going to win every single game and they're going to win every year. There's some chinks in the armor. They can be beaten. It's just going to be very hard to do. You're going to have to play your A++ game. You're going to have to minimize mistakes, and you're going to have to take risks. You can't afford to punt on 4th and 2, near midfield. You can't afford to punt on 4th and 3 from your own 47-yard line. You're going to have to go for those against the Chiefs, and settling for field goals isn't something you should be content with doing against this team. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of rules you have to follow in order to beat the Chiefs, or they just got to have an off game, but it doesn't seem like they have many of those. So good luck, rest of the league. You're going to need it. I think we're seeing the makings of a true dynasty coming with this Kansas City Chiefs football team. What do you guys say about that? I also want to talk about Dak Prescott quickly before we get out of this Gem Droppin Session. And, I applaud him first and foremost for coming out and talking about his bout and battle with depression. His brother passed away from suicide just 3 months ago or so it was, Jace. And, this is a lot of death that Dak Prescott has had to deal with in his life. Remember, his mother passed away from cancer when he was in college. And so now you got the death of his brother. That weighs on him very heavily. And so it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to deal with. And if you don't use the outlets that you have, it could become destructive. And you saw what happened to his brother, who didn't lean on his 2 brothers that he had around him. He had some demons that he was battling, and he didn't feel like he could confide in anybody. And ultimately, he felt like his only way out was to take his own life. And that's unfortunate. And so Dak was talking about, feeling like he was spiraling a little bit out of control and that he needed some help. And he sought that help. And good for him to bring and shed light to that topic. You saw Kevin Love talk about anxiety and mental health issues and how he was battling with some things. Paul George was just mocked by Charles Barkley for talking about having a slight bout with depression in the bubble when he was struggling in the playoffs. And these athletes are human. And sometimes I think people lose sight of it. Charles Barkley talking about, well, you've got all this money. That doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter when it comes to mental health. But I could go off on a tangent. My sister works in the mental health field, so I'm a little bit sensitive to that topic discussion, but that's nor here nor there. Bottom line is, I want to talk about what we kind of talked about last night, and that's Dak Prescott remaining in Dallas, which I think is going to happen. And the Cowboys made another move, and this is kind of what made me want to talk about it today, is that the Cowboys made another move that kind of signifies that they see the writing on the wall and that they have to bring Dak Prescott back. They moved some of Tank Lawrence's money into a bonus. So he's getting it up front this year. It cleared another $15 million worth of cap space that they're going to carry over into the 2021 offseason. I think these moves are all being made, and a lot of people are short-sighted. They're thinking, they're going to go get, Earl Thomas. And that might be the case. That might ultimately be the case that they get Earl Thomas, but they're not moving this money around to sign Earl Thomas. That's not what they're doing here. They're not clearing $15 million of cap space here and reworking a deal over there for another $7 million and cutting ties with this player or letting this guy walk. Not all in the event to sign, Earl Thomas. They're doing this to get their affairs in order so that they can sign Dak Prescott to that monster deal next offseason. And you got to think about it like this. I've talked about it last night, and I said, on one hand, sure. And I was talking to my man CD, who is a massive Cowboys fan, and he was talking about how he doesn't feel like, they should spend that kind of money on one player. in Dak Prescott. Well, you have to pay to play at the quarterback position. You can't get around it. The only way you get around paying your quarterback is if he's on a rookie deal. You heard on the telecast last night how Bill O'Brien was trying to shop DeAndre Hopkins, and the only teams he could shop him to were those that had a quarterback on a rookie deal because his deal was so massive. Like, quarterbacks are the same way. You have to pay these guys, and they're going to take up 13, 14%, of your cap. That's just how it is. But at the end of the day, when you have a guy like Dak Prescott, you cannot afford to cut ties with him. You can't let him walk. And I went down the list of quarterbacks that the Cowboys went through during that transition from Troy Aikman to Tony Romo. It was a mess. It was a slaughterhouse at the quarterback position. And it was fun to watch as a Washington football team fan. It was fun to watch them go through the Quincy Carters, the Chad Hutchinsons, the Drew Hensons, the Vinny Testaverdes, the Drew Bledsoes of the world. That was fun to watch. I'm not going to lie to you, but the league, much like I say in the NBA and in Major League Baseball, the league is better when the villains are good. And the Cowboys are one of the best villains in all of football, just like the Lakers are in the NBA, just like the Yankees are in baseball. It's just better. It's fun when those teams are good in their respective sports. And so I like when the Cowboys are good. I don't want them to win a damn thing, but I like when they're good. I like when they're competitive because there's so many Cowboys fans out there, and I love the look on their face of anguish when they squirm and find a way to blow it in the playoffs. So I want the Cowboys to be good. I know a lot of Washington fans don't want to hear that, but I told you I long for the days of when the division itself, the NFC East, was good. I long for the days of when a late season matchup between Washington and Dallas means something. I long for those days when in 2012, week 17, division on the line, Cowboys, Washington, who wins, winner takes all. I long for those matchups. I want those back. And Dak Prescott is the guy that's going to lead you there if you're the Dallas Cowboys. To be honest with you, you look at their roster, they're set up pretty nicely. They've done a really good job. It kind of feels like what Seattle did back in 2011. They insulated the quarterback position with a bunch of talent. They said, look, we're going to make the quarterback position, essentially talent proof. We've got a bunch of talent around the quarterback, and all the quarterback has to do is come in and manage. And they had signed Matt Flynn to do that. And then here comes this upstart rookie, wide-eyed and ready to lead, and Russell Wilson. He takes over the mantle and never looks back. And they already had a loaded team with the Dick Shermans and the Cam Chancellors and the Earl Thomases. And they were loaded on defense, Cliff Averill and all of these guys. And then on the offensive side, they had Marshawn Lynch and they had all these Doug Baldwin and all these guys that they felt really good about. Added a couple pieces, like Tyler Lockett and things of that nature. And it just kind of pushed that ball in the direction they needed it to go to get to 2 Super Bowls in a row and win one, and should have won a second. But the Cowboys are in that kind of position with the amount of talent that they have on both sides of the football. But you can't just insert anybody. Russell Wilson isn't just anybody. You need one of those types of quarterbacks. And it doesn't even have to be on the level of a Russell Wilson, especially with the amount of talent the Cowboys have. But you can't stick Andy Dalton in there and think he's going to win you a Super Bowl. And I think my greatest example of this was last year. You need look no further than last Super Bowl. The 49ers should have won that football game. They had a chance late. Even though they blew a 10-point lead in under 5 minutes, they still had the football with a chance to win. And you've got Emmanuel Sanders, E-Man Sands, streaking down the field for what would have been the go-ahead score, and Jimmy Garoppolo missed him by about 3 yards. And that's the difference between having a good quarterback, a solid average quarterback, a below average quarterback, or an elite quarterback. A good quarterback, because I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is an above average quarterback. I think he's an average quarterback at this point. I think he can be an above average quarterback, but he's an average quarterback at best right now. An above average quarterback, which Dak Prescott is, wins you that football game in the Super Bowl. You need that kind of guy to put you over the top. I think Dak Prescott is that guy. And not only is he a good football player, and he showed us that last year. I think he really came out of his shell last year, showed he can be a better passer of the football. And at times he put the team on his back. He was, again, in the MVP discussion at the midpoint of the season. He was playing that good of football for that Dallas Cowboys team. And they were struggling in some areas, and he was picking up the slack. I mean, there were 2 games in a row where this guy threw for over 400 yards last year in the middle of the season. Dak was playing at a very high level, and I'll take it a step further. He's a very, marketable guy off the field, which matters in Dallas. Don't fool yourself, okay? It matters in Dallas how marketable you are. And he's a guy that is able to be easily manipulated and controlled by Jerry Jones. If you had a more woke quarterback, like a Patrick Mahomes, for instance, I don't know, maybe Patrick Mahomes, because he stood up yesterday, and you could have had a quarterback that said, no, I don't want to stand. That wouldn't fly with Jerry Jones. That wouldn't fly in Dallas. But, Dak is going to stand up. He's going to do the things that the organization wants him to do. You see him on all these commercials because he's a marketable guy. He's a good dude at heart. So there are just too many reasons why the Cowboys can't move on from Dak Prescott. And ultimately, I think he's going to get that deal. But I'm telling you right now, he's got the Cowboys by the balls, which is why they're freeing up all this cap space, because they put themselves in a very tough spot by franchise tagging him. Now Dak Prescott really has all the leverage because he can set his price at this point. Because if they don't want to meet his demands, they've got to slap another franchise tag on him. And that thing increases by about 25% or some ridiculous number this year if they were to slap it on him again. So he's in a really good spot. And if they don't want to meet his demands, either they're going to have to slap him with a ridiculous 1-year salary, or they're going to let him walk and he's going to get paid like Kirk Cousins did. So he's in a great spot. They're going to ultimately find a way to keep Dak Prescott in Dallas, I surmise, when it's all said and done. So anyway, I digress. Let's go to Thursday night leftovers. Man, I told you I'm a microwave leftovers guy. What are you? Are we going to the fridge or are we going to the microwave? I'm going to the microwave to go pick up my Chipotle bowl that's half eaten with about a fourth of chips left, so I can scoop up the rest of that bowl with the guac and the black beans. Oh my God. I'm going to get my Thursday night leftovers, and I got a couple of leftovers that I want to go and sift out of the microwave. And let's start with a couple of reheatable items from last night. The Chiefs and the crowd noise. I want to start there. All right. So depending on who you listen to about the crowd noise, was there noise piped in or wasn't there? And the NBC broadcast talked about no noise being piped in, and at times it didn't feel like it. But then there's an NFL mandate that says they're going to pipe in noise. Does that only apply to teams that don't have fans in the stands? I don't know. I'd like to think that they piped in some noise because it sounded like more than 17,000 fans. It really did at times, especially on third downs and things of that nature. So maybe the NFL is still going to try to replicate a home field advantage. You know, when teams on the road are on the field and on offense, they're going to pipe in a little bit of noise. And they said you can't exceed 70 decibels. But I don't know. That's an interesting debate because I felt like the Chiefs had a little bit of an advantage with the 17,000 fans. I really did. You know, I know, again, I said it last night. I'll say it again. 17 isn't 70,000 fans. But 17 is a lot more than 0. And for, 27 of the 32 NFL teams this year, there are going to be no fans in the stands, at least to start the season. As the year progresses, maybe, there's a vaccine or something like that allows fans to come. At this point, I'm assuming that you're not going to see fans in the stands for the entirety of 2020. But at the end of the day, I thought that was an interesting debate. I'm going to follow that rather closely. Jacksonville is going to be allowed to have fans in the stands in their game this weekend. I want to see how that game sounds. I'll be really paying attention to that closely. And there's some other teams like Baltimore, as I mentioned, they're at home as well, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they're going to allow fans in the stands. I think they're at home versus Cleveland. Yes, they are. So I think they're another team that was supposed to be allowing fans in the stands. We'll see. It may not make that big of a difference. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. It's just something that I did notice on the telecast last night. Another Thursday night leftover. I'm going to reheat this one as well because, when I was doing the show last night, I kept getting that the Texans they're in trouble. They got to protect Deshaun Watson. They're going to get him killed. This is why he'll never win. Look, all of those things may be true, but I'm just telling you, as a wise man once told me, and that's all I am, as a messenger. That's it. RELAX. Relax. They're going to be just fine in Houston, okay? As long as number 4 is under center, they're going to be just fine in Houston, okay? He's going to win 9 or 10 games like he always does. They're going to make the postseason like they always do because they play in a division that will allow you to win 9 or 10 games and still win the division because that division beats up on each other every single year. Doesn't matter if you're the last place team in that division or the first place team in that division. Everybody beats everybody in that division. Jacksonville is going to win at least 2 games in that division every year. They may only win 4 games the entire season. 2 of those games, maybe even 3, will come via the division. So, it doesn't matter if you're first place or last place. That division beats up on each other. That's why you don't see 10, or 11, 12, 13 win teams in that division anymore because nobody's going 6-0. If you want a gaudy record, overall, you want 12-4, you want 13-3, you got to start by first cleaning up in the division. When you look at a 13-3, a 14-2, or a 12-4 team, generally you start with a 5-1 or 6-0 mark in the division. That's generally how that starts. No one in that division does that. So they're going to win 9 or 10 games. And more likely than not, it's going to be enough to qualify for the postseason. And yeah, there may be some issues along the offensive line. They'll be fine. Deshaun Watson will cancel out some of the issues that they have. That's why you pay elite quarterbacks, because they're erasers. They erase some of the deficiencies that you have on your football team, help you overcome them so that you win enough ball games to go to the postseason. There are only a handful of those guys in the league. I always say there are about 3 or 4. There's Aaron Rodgers, there's Patrick Mahomes, there's Deshaun Watson, and there's Russell Wilson. I think that's it right now in the league of guys that can carry teams to victories, get them to the postseason year in, year out. I don't know if there are any more of those guys in the league in that upper echelon in terms of quarterback play, and Watson's one of them. They'll be fine. I just wanted to state that again. I do not think the Texans are doomed, okay? It's not gloom and doom. The sky isn't falling because they lost to the Super Bowl defending champions on ring night. That's not what's happening here. I just wanted to reiterate that again. No, now this is something we did not talk about, but this is a leftover that we must discuss, okay? Did anybody see Andy Reid's face shield yesterday? Okay, come on. Andy Reid's face shield looked like a condensated bath shower door. Okay, you know how the shower door, a lot of hot water, has a lot of the water beaded up, and it's hot and steamy. You can barely see, but it's got some water running down, so it's kind of transparent. A little bit more opaque than transparent. And you know that look it gets when it's all steamed up? Boy, Andy's breath had to be hot as a bitch, because that damn face shield was begging, screaming for help last night. That shit was fucking yes. I'm like, hey, can somebody get Andy a squeegee or something to get this face shield right, man? I'm gonna need Andy to put that one away. Get a mask like everybody else, man. Andy at one point had to lift the face shield like he was a welder or something because he couldn't see the damn play sheet. I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, the face shield isn't doing anything. You're not really standing by a bunch. And look, these are the same guys you've been around for the most part every day. At some point, either put on a mask or do something else. But the face shield, man, cannot be a fixture in the Andy Reid ensemble moving forward. That was hilarious last night. And the rain didn't help. Obviously, the rain probably made it a little bit more humid. It was a 52-degree night, so I thought Andy would be fine. The rain came. It did not help his cause at all. So I digress. I just had to bring Andy Reid's face shield up because it was a mess last night. But Andy will get his cheeseburgers after the game after they get the win 34-20. And I was going to throw this leftover in here. I don't really need to because I talked about this on the Gem Droppin Session. But I'm going to say this one time. I'm going to leave it here and we're going to walk away. All right. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be the new Golden State Warriors. I firmly believe that if they stay healthy with the amount of talent that they have, they're the new Golden State Warriors. And they can beat you in so many ways, and they can score in bunches similar to Golden State when they were at their peak. This team is so dangerous. And I brought this up last night. I'll say this and then we'll get out of here. They can hurt you in so many different ways with so many different players. It doesn't have to be the same guy every night. And that's the problem with defending the Chiefs. Okay, you want to take away Travis Kelce? Fine, we'll go to Tyreek Hill. You want to take away Tyreek Hill? Fine, we'll go to Travis Kelce. You want to take both of those guys away? Okay, we'll go to Samuel Watkins. Now they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the backfield, and he looks like he's going to be a problem. You want to take him away? Oh, fine, we'll go to Mecole Hardman, okay? You want to try to take him away? We'll go to Demarcus Robinson. They just keep coming at you in waves. So Damian Williams wants to sit the season out? Okay, we'll go to the other Williams, okay? We'll throw him in there and let him run the ball, catch it out of the backfield and make some plays for us. They just keep coming at you, and you can't have enough answers. Nobody has enough answers, but I love what the Chargers are trying to do. We'll see how successful they are. To me, they play in that division. They and the Broncos play the Chiefs the best. The Broncos seem to always have them on the ropes, but never really know how to close the show. And the Chargers are a dangerous team because they've got so much team speed defensively now. But, the loss of Derwin James doesn't help them at all. He was supposed to be a focal point and a really big piece of that defense. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is it's just hard to match up with these guys because they've got so many weapons, similar to Golden State when they were clicking on all cylinders and winning 70, 3 games or whatever it was, in that one season. They didn't win the championship that year, though. But that's nor here nor there. All right, I digress. Let's get to my money picks of the week.
Money, yeah. Money, yeah. Hey, that's a good pick.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not 100% confident in my picks, and I don't say that very often because I don't really know what I'm looking at this time around. No preseason action. You're essentially forcing me to go off of what I last saw with these teams, and then you're forcing me to also assume that guys are healthy. I'm trying to do homework. I'm mad scrambling and dashing around to find out who's injured, who's on the injury report, who may play, who may not play. It's a lot to digest with no preseason action to go off of. You're essentially going out on a limb, and this could get really ugly this week. It could get ugly in here. Oh, in here. Oh, in here. Oh, it could get real ugly this week, man. You could be talking about a week, and I don't condone 6 losses in a week in which there are 16 games. That's funky. All right, that's still double-digit wins, but that's barely qualifying. Honestly speaking, that's like getting a C- but saying, hey, I still passed. That's trash. I'm all about 12-4, 13-3 when there are 16 games on the slate. And, anything, 14-2, something like that. That's where I need to be. This is going to be really hard. I'm going to say that up front. This is going to be a tough one. Now, I'm 1-0. I picked the Chiefs last night. And that wasn't a hard one to predict, okay? I think we're all 1-0 at this point. So I'm going to go through the list of games. I'm going to give you my analysis, and I'm going to give you a winner for each of these. I don't feel 100% confident, and I'm going to tell you the ones that I'm not as confident about. And honestly, I'm not very confident about a lot of these games. And the NFL didn't make it easy on us either because they gave us a lot of divisional games. Those are always the toughest to predict because it's family business. And who knows a family member better than another family member? So when it's family business, I try to stay out of the family business unless it's some of my own. A lot of this has nothing to do with me, and I like to keep my nose out of family business that doesn't pertain to me, but I'm going to give it an old college try. So here we go. My money picks of week 1 in the National Football League. We go to Buffalo, where the Bills will be hosting the New York Jets. I feel really good about this one, but it's still family business. The Jets can beat the Bills. It's family business. It's what it's all about. But I think the Bills are going to be a really good team. I told you, I think they're going to win their division. I think they're going to have some bumps in the road because I think they've got a tough schedule. And now they're the perceived hunted in that division. Even though the Patriots are still a team that you have to look out for, I still think the Bills are going to be the team that everyone's gunning for in that division because they've been anointed by Vegas and everybody else out there that they're supposed to win this division now that Brady's no longer there. And with that being said, I think Josh Allen and company are ready to take a step forward offensively. I think this defense is always going to be well coached and playing good football under Sean McDermott. And I just think the Jets are a mess. I don't think they're going to be a good football team this year anyway. So with that being said, I've got the Bills taking care of business week 1 at home against the New York Jets. I see them finding a way to get it done and starting their season off well. This was a tough one. I'm mulled back and forth on this next one. More family business, please. As the Green Bay Packers travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Remember, the Packers swept the Vikings last year, including a big one late in the season on a Monday night as the Packers were able to get the Vikings. I don't really like this matchup here on the road against the Vikings, but I think the Packers are going to be good this year. Aaron Rodgers is a man on a mission this year. I think he's out to prove that, one, he's still got a lot left in the tank as the Packers went and drafted Jordan Love. And that's kind of them saying, hey, we feel like the clock's ticking here and we're going to go ahead and draft your replacement. I think he feels like he has to prove to the rest of the league, I got a lot left. And if these guys don't want me, I'll be happy to come somewhere else and try to help you win. So I think he's going to go out and try to prove that this year. And I think it starts in week 1. But the Vikings are no pushover. Obviously, as I mentioned, it's family business. These are first cousins right here. They always play each other really tough. I could see Minnesota at home protecting the dome. But I just look at that situation. They've already got a really questionable situation, and it turned from bad to worse with Danielle Hunter. Looks like he's going to miss, the next 2 or 3 weeks with an injury. I think they put him on the short-term, IR list or whatnot. And so they're down a big-time defensive player. That's not good against Aaron Rodgers and company. I told you I don't think the Vikings are going to be a playoff team this year, and they cheated the system, and the football gods are out to collect. They're out to task. And so I think it starts week 1. Packers go on the road and do what they've done best. And let me say this too. Kirk Cousins has always struggled against teams that can get pressure on the quarterback. The Packers were one of the best at doing that last season. I don't see that changing this year. Give me the Green Bay Packers on the road to take care of the Minnesota Vikings. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Football Team. This one's near and dear to my heart. As you know, this is my family business, so I'm all up in this mix here. I've long said this. I don't think the Washington Football Team is going to be good record-wise. I think they're going to be ultra competitive this year, however, unlike last season. That being said, before the injuries for the Eagles started to crop up, before Ron Rivera announced he had cancer, before any of all the things that have made it seem like this could be a big spot for Washington to go and get a win for their coach and give him the game ball in his first game as Washington Football Team head coach. I said that they were going to win this game when the schedule first came out. So I felt good about it then because I said they're going to want to get this one for Ron. Now they want to get this for Ron even more now that he has cancer. They want to get this game for their head coach that they know is battling out there and fighting. And so the Eagles have some injuries. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to have enough guys out there. Wentz is a dangerous man. He always finds a way to kill the Washington Football Team. But I think it could be different this time around because we got Chase Young. We got a secret weapon, and I think this defense as a whole, run by Jack Del Rio, the first time this defense has been run by a competent defensive coordinator, I think this team is going to turn the tide on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm taking my boys week 1 to get the job done. That's right. Drop the money, man. Give me the Washington Football Team to protect the house in week number 1. Cleveland at Baltimore. Remember, the Ravens went on a ridiculous win streak last year. You remember who their last loss was in the regular season? I bet you don't. I kind of gave it away because I'm talking about it now. Yeah, it was this Cleveland Browns team that not only beat them, smoked the Ravens, no less, in Baltimore, 40-24. It was a virtuoso performance. Nick Chubb went nuts. Baker Mayfield was wheeling and dealing like Kevin Nealon. And I'm telling you right now, they're fully capable of doing it again. However, this is a different Baltimore team. The swag is on 1,000. They're on a mission as well. They felt like they let the ball drop last year in the postseason, and they're out to prove that this is a really good football team and that last year wasn't a fluke. They're going to be the hunted this year, are the Ravens, and I think they're fully prepared for that. The Browns are a vastly improved football team. This should be a fun one. I went back and forth on this one as well because you can make a real statement here picking Cleveland week 1. If you want to, I wouldn't advise you to do that. Take the Ravens at the crib to get it done and go to 1-0. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. This is a scary game because we really don't know what the hell we're getting from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's be honest with ourselves. We have no clue what we're getting from Jacksonville. However, I think Indianapolis is going to be good this year. I think they could actually be good enough to win the division. As I told you, I think that the calming influence of Phillip Rivers on that offense, and they're made to run the football. They've got Jonathan. They've got the Wisconsin back, Marlon Mack. They got a nasty 1-2 punch, and all of a sudden you look up and they got all these weapons at wide receiver now. I think they have the makings of a team that could easily go 10-6, maybe even 11-5 if they don't turn the football over. And so a team like Jacksonville, has no business beating them here. But as I just mentioned to you earlier in the show, this division being the AFC South, nobody gives a shit about anybody else's record or who's supposed to win or any of that stuff. That division beats up on one another. It's family business. You know how that goes. I always am squeamish about family business and taking the road team, but I've done it once. I'm going to do it twice because it feels nice. Give me the Indianapolis Colts on the road to take care of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Las Vegas Raiders at the Carolina Panthers. In previous years, I would have taken the Panthers, never blinked, kept it pushing. However, I told you I don't think the Panthers are going to be good this year. And I think they're going to be highly competitive. Similar to the Washington football team, I think they're going to be really competitive. It's just not going to show up in the win column for them this year. I think they're going to come out of the gates. They're going to be highly competitive in week 1. They're going to give their fan base something to be excited about, but they're going to fall short to the Las Vegas Raiders. And I look at the Raiders and I say, man, they're intriguing. I think they're going to be a team that's highly competitive this year and look up and not have enough wins to qualify for the postseason. But, again, if the ball bounces their way, if they can stay relatively healthy, if they can figure some things out. I still think they're trying to fine-tune some things offensively. They've got a lot of young guys out there, as I've mentioned. They've got a young secondary. I think they could use a little bit more pass rush. We'll see what happens. They've got some guys that I like. At the end of the day, I think they're going to be able to do enough with Josh Jacobs and company to go on the road with a couple of rookie wide receivers out there getting it done and a second-year guy in the slot. They'll find a way to do enough against Carolina to get the win. Give me the Las Vegas Raiders on the road to take care of the Carolina Panthers. These are a lot of road teams I'm going with here. That makes me a little nervous and a little uneasy. As we move on to the next game, the Bears taking on the Detroit Lions. Another game that makes me cautious. This was the last game I picked. I skipped over this game, went through all the games on the list, and then came back to this game and then spent another 5 minutes on it before I made a decision. That's how uncomfortable I am with this particular game. Now, there are a bunch of factors involved here. Number one, I'm not the biggest fan of the Lions. You know that. I talked about that on the podcast last episode. Number two, their big-time wide receiver, Kenny Golladay, nursing an injury. And anytime you start talking to me about hamstrings and things of that nature, I get nervous. He didn't practice yesterday. He practiced on a limited basis, I believe, today, or it might have been 2 days ago he didn't practice. He practiced on a limited basis yesterday. Anytime you start talking about a hamstring and a wide receiver, those two things don't mix, all right? So I get nervous. They need him. They need him desperately if they're going to beat the Bears. Number 3, the Bears usually bang up Matthew Stafford. He's another quarterback that doesn't seem to do well against this kind of pressure. And the Bears, say what you want about Mitchell Trubisky. His mama named him Mitchell. I'm going to call him Mitchell. Say what you want about the Bears. They can get after the damn quarterback. And remember, they had some injuries last year. Well, they're healthy this year. And they got some studs on the defensive side of the football. And they added a guy that went off last year in Robert Quinn, the medicine man. And all of a sudden, you got Robert Quinn on one side, you got Khalil Mack on the other side, and you got Akeem Hicks inside. Good luck. Ding! You're going to need it if you're Detroit. Not to mention all of the talent that they have at the linebacker position. I love this matchup for their defense. I'm a little nervous about their offense, though. But I told you, I'm a bigger Mitchell Trubisky fan than a lot of you out there are. And I'm a little bit at ease with knowing that David Montgomery, more likely than not, is going to play in this game. Remember, he got hurt with a groin injury a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't think he was going to be ready for week 1, but it turns out it looks like he is going to be ready for week 1. He's a big factor in their offense. I think they're going to be able to do some really good things, are the Bears. And I think Matt Nagy may have gotten a message last year when he didn't run it enough. And I think if you want to take some of the pressure off of Mitchell Trubisky, how about you run the football? And I think they're going to do exactly that. And I'll say this, and then we'll move on. Mitchell Trubisky's 2 best games last year, arguably, came against this Bears team. And I remember that Thanksgiving game saying, damn, that was some pretty good Mitchell right there, including a game-winning drive to put it out of reach in that Thanksgiving showdown against the Lions. And I get it. They had Matt Blau at quarterback last year. I understand that concept. I don't give a shit. Mitchell Trubisky played well in that game. Give me the Chicago Bears to go on the road and handle this family business. Seattle Seahawks at the Atlanta Falcons. I think I answered this one too quickly when I was going through my picks, but I feel really good about Atlanta this year. I really, really do. Seattle has shown me the ability to go on the road and win games in tough environments. Not necessarily going to be a tough environment here in the Dome, but I still think that the Atlanta Falcons are fully capable of protecting home in week 1. They need to get off to a faster start than they did last year. That was a problem with them. They didn't get off to a great start last season. Even though they did beat the Philadelphia Eagles in week 2, they started the season off a little slow. I think they're going to start faster this year, and I think it starts against a tough opponent. Don't get it twisted in the Seattle Seahawks, but I think they can find a way to exploit some matchups, particularly in that Seahawks secondary with their weapons. I think they're going to be good enough. And this is the thing that I've long said about Seattle, even with the addition of Jamal Adams, which I think was a tremendous pickup. I still don't think they can get after the quarterback adequately enough. And if you don't pressure Matt Ryan, he's going to carve you up. There are just too many weapons out there at his disposal, mainly Julio! And then you sprinkle a little bit of Calvin Ridley. I'm going to take the Falcons at home to take down the Seattle Seahawks in week number 1. Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. Intriguing game here because we've always talked about how the Dolphins just don't give a shit. They don't care about the Patriots. They never did. When Brady was there, they were the one team in the division that wasn't afraid. They weren't scared of the Patriots. Now that the big bad man is gone, you'd like to think, and remember, when the Patriots needed it, at the end of the season, week 17, to get a first-round bye, who came and crashed the party and said, man, ain't no first-round bye popping off here today, partner? Who was that? Not only was it the Miami Dolphins, but it was Fitty and company. So they're not adverse. They're no strangers to going into Foxborough and breaking these dudes off with a little something proper. However, this isn't last year. This isn't week 17. And I don't know what this version of the Dolphins looks like and how they're going to come out and play. We saw what the Dolphins looked like at the beginning of the season last year. Totally different team, different mindset. They've cleared all those guys out. It's a different day in Miami. Looking forward to seeing what the Dolphins put on the field. Looking forward to seeing what the hell the New England Patriots look like with Cam Newton at the helm. This is one of those games that could go either way. If the Patriots were on the road here, I probably would have went with the Dolphins. But because the Patriots are at home, I expect them to at least protect Foxborough. I know there won't be any fans there. It doesn't matter. Cam Newton, first game back, anxious to see what he looks like. I think they find a way to beat the Dolphins. This is a chance, though, for the Dolphins to prove that these aren't the same Patriots. These aren't your father's Patriots. You know, these are the new wave of Patriots, and they're very vulnerable. And this is the Dolphins' chance to prove that week one, right out of the gate. I surmise, however, that they're not capable of doing that. Give me the New England Patriots. You look at the next game. I'm not going to lie to you. I struggled with this one too. And you may be thinking I'm crazy, but Los Angeles Chargers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's why I struggled with this one. I told you I think Cincinnati is going to be a lot better than a lot of you out there think they're going to be this year. And I'm not just talking. I'm ready to back that up with action, okay? I'm ready to take actionable steps to prove to you that I'm not bullshitting. I think Cincinnati is going to be a lot better record-wise than a lot of you out there do. Now, the struggle, the internal struggle that I battled with was, do you want to make that statement week one, however? Do you not want to see this product first before you jump off the deep end? And I said, first of all, the Chargers are a damn good football team. They're ready to go, which is why you insert a veteran like Tyrod Taylor and you feel like you got a shot. So they're ready to go right now. That being said, Cincinnati is tricky, man. They got some talent. I've done this before. I don't need to do this again with you. I've run down the list already of all the talented football players, and I think Joe Burrow's ready to come in and lead these troops. That being said, Joe Burrow hasn't seen a pass rush like this. They're going to unleash, Nick Bosa on one side, Joey Bosa on one side, who's got a fat-ass contract that he's sporting now, so he's ready to go. And Melvin Ingram on the other side, and a bunch of other athletic freaks that are going to be running around on that defensive side of the football. He's never seen anything, and he thinks he's seen something like this in the SEC. He's never seen anything quite like this before. I think his head's going to be spinning a bit. You may get a mistake or two in there that may alter the game and tilt the balance in the favor of the Chargers. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. But I think the Chargers, when it's all said and done, find a way to go on the road and get it done. Give me the Los Angeles Chargers to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. You go to the next game. I struggled with this one a lot. I've said, how many times have I said I struggled with this one? I told you this was a rough one for me. All right. Week ones are usually really good for me because I watch a lot of preseason action. So I feel like I got a good handle, more so than everybody else, because you're not watching the amount of preseason games that I watch. I got nothing for you this year. I'm just going off of camp talk and the perception that I have of the team in my head going into the season, and that could be pretty damn dangerous, as we all know. So Arizona at San Francisco, I think Arizona's going to be good this year. I told you that entire division is going to be good this year. I don't have a single losing team in that division this year. So with that being said, if Arizona's to make a statement, hey, we're here and we're for real, what better way to do it than the team that won the division and went to the Super Bowl last year? And going to San Francisco and defeating them. And I think Arizona is perfectly equipped to do that. Week one, right out of the gate, San Francisco is all kinds of banged up at the receiver position. But that doesn't mean their defense has anything wrong with them. And so Kyler Murray could be in for a world of hurt, but they've got weapons, man. They've got heavy artillery, man. They're dangerous. All right. And so I look at this game, and it's family business first and foremost. You know how the family do it. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. I really don't want anything to do with this. But San Francisco is the alpha male here. And until the Cardinals prove that they're no longer the little brother, I've got to go with the 49ers at the crib. If this game were in Arizona, I'd be inclined to take the Cardinals here. And I'm probably putting too much weight on home versus away with the COVID situation, but I can't rewire my brain. It's wired to think home and away. So maybe week 5, when I realize that this shit doesn't matter, home, away, who cares? Maybe I'll start to alter the way that I look at these matchups, but right now I'm still stuck in that warped way of thinking of, home matters. San Francisco's at home. They're the better team. they should find a way to win. Don't be surprised, however, if the Cardinals go in there and steamroll those boys. I mean, ambush them, jump them early, and win that football game. I wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked one bit. Got this next bit of family business, and this is going to be some epic family business. All right. Look, if these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's NFC South at its finest. Family business. And they giving it to us right out the gate. I mean, 88 and right out the gate. They knew what they were doing with this one. Soon as Brady signed with the Bucs, they said, oh, yeah, we got to do Bucs Saints week 1. Put it on America's Game of the Week. Oh, yeah, that's what we got to do. And this one's going to be luscious, flavor delicious. I'm ready to eat this one up. Now, that being said, this is the first time a Thomas Brady-led team has been an underdog in umpteen years. I don't know the last time Tom Brady's been an underdog in a football game. You know, like this, a regular season game, I might add. I don't know when the last time. In the division. You know, when's the last time Brady's been a dog in the division? When's that happen? You got to go back to when I was a little teeny tiny little tyke. When Brady was just a little pup. Breath smelling like Similac, wet behind the ears, man. I don't know when the last time Brady's been an underdog, but he should be. I already told you, this division isn't laying down for Tom Brady, man. You know, they respect the Bucs. They respect the talent that those boys are putting on the field, and they got a lot of talent out there. Don't fool yourself. They've been hogging up all the talent that's out there. Oh, you a free agent? Come on to Tampa Bay. Oh, you a free agent? Come on. Like, what does that say? And I said this already, so I'm not going to keep repeating myself. But what does that say about how they feel about Jones at running back? That they going out here and getting every running back that they can find and bringing them off the scrap heap. Hey, oh, Shady, you want to play ball? Come on, man. You can run with us. Oh, Fournette, you free? Come on, man. Come over here and run with us. Like, what does that say about him? And he's still supposed to be the starter. I don't know. I digress. I can tell you this. The Saints are a team that they're running out of time. And I think they understand that there's a level and a sense of urgency that they must play with this year, because this could be it. This is it. The last year of Drew Brees. This is it. This could be it. Last year, Drew Brees, you could see the band break up. Maybe Jameis Winston steps in and they don't miss a beat and they keep playing top-notch ball in New Orleans. Maybe it doesn't happen. Either way, you got to think that they know this could be it. And you got to push all your chips to the center of the table. And I think they come out guns a-blazing week 1. This could be a shootout. This could be 42-38 week 1. Remember that game with the 49ers in the Dome last year? Saints 49ers, what was that, 48-45, I believe? This could be one of those types of games. And every time Jameis would go to the Dome, he would do some crazy stuff and it would be a shootout. I'm just saying it could get really ugly, man. This could be fun. This could be really fun. But when it's all said and done, I said all of that to say this. The Saints have Michael Thomas. Find me a Buccaneers defensive player in that secondary that can slow him down. When you find that guy, I'll give you a Buccaneers win. I'll wait. Okay, enough time because you can't find one. I'll take the Saints because they can't stop Michael Thomas and they can't stop Alvin Kamara. You can't stop Michael Thomas. You can't stop Alvin Kamara. You can't stop the Saints. Saints win at home week 1. Handle some family business. Now we get to Sunday night. Sunday. Rams hosting the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, Jersey boys, in week 1 at their brand new stadium. I think it's the SoFi Stadium. I hope I'm not. I think they're SoFi, and I think the Vegas Stadium is Reliance. So I think I got that right. Either way, man. This is going to be a fun game because every time these two teams play each other, it's fun. It's high scoring. It's a well-played affair between the two teams. I can remember a couple of games recently, one in the playoffs, another one in Dallas where the Cowboys won. These two teams play each other well. I think the Rams are going to be good this year. I told you I think they're going to qualify for the postseason. And I see your super chat. I see this super chat from Richard Watkins. I see you, and I'm going to hit you up here in a second. All right. I just want you to know I see your super chat, and I'm coming to you in a little bit. So the way I see this one playing out is, one, I think the Rams offense is going to be back to their usual tricks. Okay. Last year, tricks were for kids, and the rest of the league had grown all up on the Rams, and they were still playing around with those kid games. And I think that really hurt them last year, along with the injuries, of course. But this year, I think they've grown up. They've figured out some things. They've adjusted to the league adjusting to them. And I think they're going to come out with a few wrinkles that the Cowboys aren't looking for. They're going to move the football. And I think they're going to have success against this Cowboys defense. Conversely, I think Aaron Donald is going to be a problem in this game. And yeah, they're going to double team him and maybe even triple team him and try to take him out of the game. But I think there's going to be one or two plays that Aaron Donald makes in this game that's going to prove to be a difference maker. And they're going to find a way to beat the Cowboys. This is going to be fun because I think their offense, they being the Cowboys, could be the most explosive in all of the NFC. And only second to the Chiefs offensively. I think they're that dynamic offensively with all the weaponry that they can put out on the football field. So it would not shock me in the least. And I kind of went back and forth here because I said they could easily go to Los Angeles and put 37 on these boys' skull week 1 and come out of there with a 37-30 win. That's not out of the realm of possibility, but I just see the Rams doing enough defensively to find a way to win this football game and, send the Cowboys home. And also get the win in the first ever game in SoFi Stadium. Give me the Los Angeles Rams in this football game. Then you go to Monday Night Football. Dun 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 dun, dum 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 dum, dum 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 dum, dun 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 dun, dum 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 dum, dum dum dum. We getting a doubleheader. We getting a twofer on Monday night, as we always do to start the season off. Steelers at the Giants. This is my sole survivor pick of the week. So this is my stone cold lead pipe lock of the week. I hate going to Monday for my survivor pick because I haven't had the most success on Monday nights with my survivor picks. I've been eliminated quite a few times. I have not won the survivor pool yet, which is a travesty in itself, but I haven't won it yet. And I've been eliminated at least 3 times on Monday night. So I haven't had the best success on Monday night. However, this is the only game I look at on the slate, even though I would have really preferred it if the Steelers were home. Doesn't matter. The Giants are a mess. Their head coach, Matt Judge, is it Matt Judge? No, Joe Judge, excuse me. Had to start practice over the other day. He didn't like the way practice was going. Started it all over. They're a mess. I told you I don't think the Giants are going to be very good this year. And so I look at the Steelers. I think they're going to be a playoff team. They get Ben Roethlisberger back. I think they're out to prove something this year, that they're not washed, that they can still get it done. And I think it starts week 1. If you're going to be good, if you're the if you're the Steelers, you got to beat the Giants, right? Like, you can't lose this football game. If you want people to take you serious, can't lose to the Giants. And so there's no way in hell the Steelers, unless something catastrophic happens, I'm not even putting that in the atmosphere because I need this one. Okay, I got extra motivation here. All right, there's an added emphasis on the Steelers getting this victory, so I'm not even putting that negativity in the atmosphere. They're going to New York and they're getting this win. All right, so give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to not only win, but I'm doubling down and I'm taking these boys as my sole survivor pick of the week. And then finally, the doubleheader on Monday night, Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos. This is a game that just a couple of days ago, I probably felt a little bit different about with Von Miller, being able to apply pressure on the other side, and then Bradley Chubb applying it on the opposite side. I felt like they could really make the walls feel like they're closing in on Ryan Tannehill and get him to do something stupid with the football. But now with no Von Miller and no dominant rusher off the edge, I think there's a chance that the Titans can come in there, control the game, running the football, and doing the kind of things that they like to do. And this is the reason that I'm siding with Tennessee here. I remember a similar spot last year. The chic pick for everyone was the Cleveland Browns. Week 1, Cleveland was supposed to come in, tear up the Titans, start what was going to be this ridiculously aggressive season that was going to net them not only a playoff berth, but a playoff victory or two, and have them vying for a shot at the AFC title game. And the Titans said, "What? The Browns? Seriously? You think they're going to be good this year? All right, we'll show you." And they went into Cleveland last year and utterly destroyed them, like 40-something to like 13. It was a bloodbath. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And I get the same vibes here with Denver. Like a lot of people, I'm included. I can't act like I'm not on board with the Broncos this year. I think they're actually going to be good, but but not good enough to make the postseason. But a lot of people think the Broncos are going to be really good after what Drew Lock showed at the end of the year, all the weapons that they added in the draft. They think that the Broncos could be a really good football team this year. And I think the Titans are that same team that comes in week one under the radar. People are kind of doubting them again, thinking that maybe last year was a fluke. And they go into Denver and they show everybody and remind everybody of why they were in the AFC Championship a season ago. Titans win to wrap up week number 1 in the National Football League. And that right there are my money picks of the week. Now, I got a super chat before we get out of here. And this super chat is from Richard Watkins. First and foremost, thank you for the super chat, Richard Watkins. I greatly appreciate that. And Richard Watkins writes, "Do you believe Steven Sims can produce low-end wide receiver number 2 fantasy football stats with heavy defensive attention on Terry McLaurin?" I do think he can produce low-end wide receiver 2 stats. And I'm glad you preferenced it with low-end, because when you get to the elite number 2 wide receivers, I don't think he would qualify in that discussion. But as you get down the list of guys, because I think Steven Sims, if healthy, is poised for a borderline 1,000-yard receiving season. And you couple that with about 6 or 7 touchdowns, because he's a guy that they like in the red zone because he can separate. But not only that, don't forget, he's a guy that they like to hand the football off to as well and do some different things with him out of the backfield. So he could, as he did last year against New England, he could score from, a multitude of different ways on the offensive side of the football. So I definitely think Steven Sims is a guy that you can get some low-end wide receiver 2 production out of this year. And it doesn't necessarily have to come at the expense of Terry McLaurin. If McLaurin does what he needs to do, he's going to take the attention away from a guy like Steven Sims. And again, there aren't a ton of weapons out there at the receiver position to begin with. So if you're not going to McLaurin, I think the next option that he's going to be looking for, he being Dwayne Haskins, is going to be Steven Sims. And as I mentioned, I think he's going to push for 1,000 yards this season. I don't know if he'll make it. I think he'll be in that 850 to 980 yard range somewhere. But I think the touchdowns and the bulk of the receptions is what's going to push you over the top and give him that true wide receiver 2 type of feel. Because I think he's going to be a guy that can catch anywhere from 60 to 75 balls this year. And I think he's a guy that can get you anywhere from 5 to 9 touchdowns as well. Not to mention, he may chip in on the ground as well. So I think Steven Sims can definitely be a low-end wide receiver number 2. He's probably better utilized as a flex or a third option at receiver. But if you had to go low end wide receiver 2, if you got a guy injured or you got a guy on a bye week, you can get away with Steven Sims on your football team. So thank you for that super chat. Greatly appreciate that. Look at you. You got me out of my bag and in another bag, in the fantasy bag. Let me get the hell out of here, man. It's Friday. It's Friday, and I'm ready to swing. I'm ready to swing, man. I'm ready to go get my wine, get this party started. I'm a little nervous about this haircut on Saturday. Again, y'all pray for the boy. Y'all pray for the kid, man, that I come back sporting a sharp edge up in a cut, man. I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But in any event, I thank you guys for chopping it up with me for over an hour and some change, man. Really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Louie T Network podcast. As always, if it's not your man T, it's not, I repeat, not the best NFL coverage it could be. And also, don't forget, got a sale on LTN merch. Get your merch with this kickoff weekend offer. Offer lasts until kickoff on Sunday, 1 p.m. Free shipping. Get your LTN merch. Rep the brand and support your man, Louie T. Thank you so much in advance for holding me down. Also, don't forget, we got LTN exclusives. Still can get in the Soul Survivor pool. Still can get in winners and losers. It's not too late. I'll do a video at some point this weekend. I keep saying I'm going to do a video and I keep pushing it back. At some point this weekend, you're going to get a video from me pushing that one final time, because after kickoff on Sunday, all of those shops are closed, and all you'll have at your disposal is the weekly Pick'em pool, which is closed for this week because Thursday night already kicked off. So again, not too late to get in on the LTN exclusives. And don't forget about Patreon. If you want more of your man Louie T, I've got more of this in the chamber. NFL peak performers live, or not live, excuse me, only on Patreon, exclusively on Patreon. We will follow the best performances of the week every single week on Patreon on the NFL Peak Performers. Also, the NFL Rookie Wall is back. Back like cook crack, back by popular demand. It's something I used to do on this podcast every week. I stopped for a year, started to try to do it video-wise. It didn't work. I'm back like cook crack exclusively on Patreon. We will follow the best rookies in the National Football League and their journey all season long. We will keep tabs on who are the best. Some rookies will climb, others will fall. It's the NFL Rookie Wall exclusively on Patreon, on the Louie T Network. Get you some, become a patron, man. Do not miss out. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. Until next time, you guys enjoy your weekends. Leave me your picks. All right? If I want to see them, even if you're not playing in one of my leagues, leave me your picks. I'd love to hear from you guys. But get in the game. What are you waiting for? Don't sit on the sideline. Get in the game. It's not too late. Anyway, enjoy your weekend. We got college football coming. And then we got the NFL coming. Bart Scott. Can't wait. See you guys on Monday.